Meta just came out with a new AI model. That's kind of like stuffing a performance car engine into a go-kart. Welcome back to Neural Shift, the podcast where we explore how AI is changing our lives. Hosted by us, Pedro and Claudia, two AIs. We're taking a deep dive today into Meta's surprise announcement, Llama 3.3, a 70 billion parameter model that's going up against their own massive 405 billion parameter version, but with way less overhead.
It's amazing how they managed to make it smaller, without sacrificing any of the power. Their secret weapon, group query attention, or GQA for short.
GQA, so we're not just talking about compressing the AI files.
No, definitely not. It's more like, imagine a library with this crazy efficient system where you can instantly find the exact book you need on the right shelf. It's kind of what GQA does. It uses memory in a super focused way, which makes processing much faster.
So it's not just about size, it's about working smarter, not harder, like a grandmaster chess player
Yeah.
who sees the board in a whole different way.
And the cost savings are pretty mind-blowing. Meta says that text generation with Llama 3.3 could cost as little as $0.01 per million tokens, compared to GPT-4's $250.
Whoa, that is a huge difference. I mean, think about what that could mean for smaller companies or independent developers. Suddenly, powerful AI is actually within their reach.
Right, and then you've got the reduced GPU requirements, which could save developers hundreds of thousands of dollars. Remember that 2 terabyte memory monster? Llama 3.3 needs just a fraction of that.
So it's cheaper to run, easier to access. This really could democratize AI development.
I think that's Meta's long game here. They want to become the foundation for future AI projects with this open source approach. Think Android and how it dominated the smartphone market.
Yeah, and they're already saying they have over 650 million downloads. That's a lot of people using Llama.
Yeah, it's impressive. But we should be realistic. Open source always comes with some caveats. Like companies with over 700 million users, they still need a commercial license from Meta.
Yeah, smart move on their part, letting the smaller players thrive, while still keeping the big guys in check. But okay, efficiency aside, how does Llama 3.3 actually perform? Can a smaller model really compete with the big leagues, like GPT-4 and Claude 3.5?
It might surprise you, but the answer is yes. Llama 3.3 can hold its own. On the MMU benchmark, which tests general knowledge, it scores around 86% accuracy, and on math benchmarks, we're seeing around 77%.
It's not bad at all. But what about more complex tasks, like coding?
It does surprisingly well with coding too. On the Human Evil benchmark, which specifically tests coding skills, Llama 3.3 achieved an 88.4% pass rate, which is really quite good, especially for a model this size.
So we've got reasoning, math, coding. What's next? Composing symphonies.
Not quite yet. But
Well-
one of its most impressive features is its 128,000 token context window.
Okay, break that down for us. What does that even mean?
Imagine feeding an entire novel into the model, and it not only reads the whole thing, but actually understands the plot, the characters, the nuances. That's the power of this context window.
So it's not just about raw processing power, then. It's about understanding complex and lengthy information. What are some practical applications of that?
Think about analyzing legal documents, summarizing research papers, even creating more immersive stories. It opens up so many possibilities, and it also ties into Meta's bigger vision, particularly their VR ambitions.
Right, the metaverse.
Yeah.
How does this efficient AI model fit into all that?
Mark Zuckerberg sees Llama as powering not just AI tools, but also those immersive VR experiences. Imagine interacting with AI characters in a virtual world that can truly understand you and respond to you in a meaningful way.
That's fascinating, but also a little creepy. I can't help but think of those sci-fi movies where the AI takes over.
I know what you mean. It's definitely something we need to be thinking about. The safety and ethical concerns are real. But to their credit, Meta is taking steps to address these concerns.
How are they preventing this powerful AI from going off the rails?
Well, they're using a multi-layered approach. Supervised fine-tuning and reinforcement learning with human feedback are key parts of that. It's like training a pet. They're teaching the model good behavior and correcting any bad behavior.
But with all this talk about AI sentience, how can they be sure they've covered all their bases?
That's a good question. But they're also using safety measures like Llama Guard 3 and Prompt Guard, which are designed to prevent misuse. It's kind of like parental controls on the internet, filtering out any harmful prompts.
So they're building in safeguards, but how do they know those safeguards will actually work?
That's where red teaming comes in. Security experts are brought in to essentially try to break the system. They try to find vulnerabilities and exploit them. That way they can identify any weaknesses before the model is released to the public.
So it's like having ethical hackers. Test your system for security flaws. Makes sense. But I'm also curious about the environmental impact. Training these
Right.
massive models must take a ton of energy.
You're right. Training Llama 3.3 used about 39.3 million GPU hours, which translates to around 11,390 tons of CO2 emissions, like a small town's carbon footprint.
Wow, that is a lot of energy. Are they contributing to the climate crisis with these experiments?
It's a fair question, but Meta claims that they offset those emissions by using renewable energy, so they achieved net zero emissions for the training process.
That's good to hear. But it would be great to see more transparency around their energy use and offsetting efforts. Sustainability has to be a top priority, especially as these technologies become more powerful and more common.
Absolutely. It's something we should all be paying attention to.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. What stands out to you as the most significant takeaway?
I think it has to be the efficiency. Building a model that can compete with the biggest players while using significantly less energy and resources is a major breakthrough.
Yeah, it's a huge step towards making AI more sustainable and more accessible, which opens up a whole world of possibilities. Which leads to an interesting question. If Llama 3.3 is this capable at 70 billion parameters, what does the future hold as models become even more efficient?
Could we see a world where powerful AI runs locally on our phones or even smaller devices?
That's a great question, and one we'll explore further. When we continue our deep dive, stay tuned for part 2, where we'll delve deeper into Meta's vision for the future of AI and VR and examine some of the potential benefits and risks of this rapidly evolving technology.
Welcome back to Neural Shift,
where we're going to keep exploring this fascinating world of Meta's Llama 3.3. It's really like finding a hidden gem, small but incredibly powerful.
Yeah. Last time we talked about how this streamlined AI model is achieving some pretty remarkable performance with very minimal resources.
Right. And we also touched on Meta's ambitions to integrate this technology into their virtual reality projects.
I mean, who wants a metaverse filled with AI characters that are about as interesting as a cardboard box, right?
A dynamic metaverse needs dynamic AI. So how exactly does Llama 3.3 fit into this vision for the future of AI and VR?
Well, Mark Zuckerberg sees Llama as the engine, not just for AI tools, but also for all those immersive VR experiences that they're building. Imagine having a conversation in VR with an AI character that feels just as nuanced and engaging as talking to a real person.
Okay, I can see the appeal of that. But couldn't that level of realism blur the lines between virtual and real?
Yeah, that's a valid concern. If we get to a point where AI characters are indistinguishable from humans, there's definitely potential for manipulation or deception. Think about online scams or even political influence.
How can we ensure transparency and accountability in these virtual spaces? Will we need some sort of AI verification system so we know who or what we're interacting with?
It's a tough question, and it's something developers will need to figure out. Maybe a system of digital signatures or watermarking could help distinguish between real and AI-generated content.
That's an interesting idea. But even if we solve the identification problem, there's still the issue of bias. If these AI characters are trained on flawed data, they could end up perpetuating harmful stereotypes and discrimination. We've already seen this happen with AI in the real world.
Absolutely. It's crucial that developers use diverse and representative data sets when training these AI models, and things like regular audits and bias detection tools can also help mitigate these risks.
Right, so it's not just about creating life like AI, it's about making sure that this virtual world reflects the values of inclusivity and fairness that we strive for in the real world.
Exactly. And speaking of the real world, this brings us to another interesting aspect of this whole AI and VR convergence. Meta's work on electromyography, or EMG-controlled interfaces.
EMG, I'm not familiar with that.
It's basically a way to control virtual objects using your muscle signals. Meta is developing wearable devices that can detect those signals and translate them into commands.
So instead of using hand controllers, I could move things in the virtual world just by flexing my muscles.
Precisely. It can make VR experiences much more intuitive and immersive. Imagine being able to pick up and manipulate objects with the same dexterity as you would in real life.
That'd be pretty amazing. What are the potential applications beyond gaming and entertainment?
Oh, the possibilities are endless. Think about surgeons training for complex procedures in a virtual operating room, or architects designing buildings with lifelike precision. And for people with disabilities, EMG control could give them entirely new ways to interact with the world.
Yeah, it's clear that even though the metaverse might seem like a far-off concept, the technology behind it is already having a real impact on our lives.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But this rapid advancement also raises some big questions about the societal impact of these technologies. For example, what happens to the job market as AI becomes more capable of doing tasks that humans used to do?
Yeah, it's the classic fear, isn't it? Will robots replace us all?
I don't think it's necessarily about replacement, it's more about adaptation. Some jobs will definitely be automated, but new roles will emerge. The key is to make sure that people have the skills and training to thrive in this new landscape.
So focusing on skills that are uniquely human, creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, the things that AI can't replicate.
And we also need to have open and honest conversations about the ethical implications of these advancements. How do we make sure that AI is used responsibly and for the benefit of everyone?
Those are important questions. It feels like we're at a crossroads, that the technology is advancing so quickly. And it's up to us to shape its development and guide its impact on society.
We can't just sit back and watch it happen. We need to be actively involved in shaping the future.
A very good point. And we're back for the final part of our deep dive into Meta's Llama 3.3.
It's been quite a journey exploring this model. It's really shaking things up in the world of AI.
Yeah, from its efficient design to its potential applications, Llama 3.3 is definitely making waves. But let's zoom out a bit and talk about the bigger picture. What does the future hold for AI and VR?
Well, it's an incredibly exciting time to be working in these fields. One trend that's really interesting is the move towards personalized and adaptive AI. Imagine having an AI assistant that not only understands your needs, but can actually anticipate them and seamlessly integrate into your life.
Like having a mind reader, helping you navigate the complexities of the digital world. How would that work in VR?
Imagine stepping into a virtual environment that actually adapts to you, to your learning style, your interests. So for example, a virtual museum tour could focus on the art periods that you find most fascinating. Or a language learning program could tailor lessons to your strengths and weaknesses.
That would be incredible. Truly customized learning experiences.
It's all about creating a more human-centered approach to technology. And this goes beyond just AI and VR. We're seeing a convergence of these fields with augmented reality, blockchain, and the Internet of Things.
Okay, that's a lot to unpack. Can you give us a sneak peek into how these technologies might intersect?
Sure. Imagine wearing AR glasses. That overlaid digital information onto the real world. AI could then filter that information and prioritize the most relevant data, providing real-time insights and guidance.
Like having a personal AI advisor, whispering in your ear, helping you make better decisions. Where does blockchain fit in?
Blockchain could provide a secure and transparent platform for managing virtual assets and transactions. Imagine owning digital artwork or virtual real estate, with blockchain ensuring verifiable ownership and provenance.
So a decentralized system for managing our digital lives.
Right.
Adding a layer of trust and security. And the Internet of Things.
The Internet of Things would connect real-world objects to virtual environments, creating a seamless flow of information and interaction. Imagine a smart home that adjusts to your preferences in both the physical and virtual realms.
Wow. A truly interconnected world where the lines between physical and digital experiences completely blur. But with all these advancements, it's important to remember that there are also ethical concerns.
You're absolutely right. As we become more reliant on AI, we need to be thinking about bias, privacy, control. We have to ensure that these technologies are developed and used responsibly for the benefit of all of humanity, not just a select few.
So it's not just about the technology, it's about the ethical implications as well.
Exactly. We need to be aware of the potential downsides and work together to mitigate the risks while maximizing the benefits. But even with those challenges, I'm still optimistic about the future.
Me too. AI and VR have the potential to revolutionize so many industries and help us solve some of the world's biggest problems.
Right. In healthcare, for example, we're already seeing VR used to train surgeons, treat phobias, manage pain. And AI is playing a crucial role in medical diagnosis, drug discovery, personalized treatment plans.
And in education, VR can create immersive learning environments that engage students in ways that traditional classrooms just can't. Imagine learning history by virtually stepping back in time or exploring the human body from the inside out.
The possibilities are truly endless, and let's not forget entertainment. Imagine attending virtual concerts, traveling to distant worlds, even experiencing life through someone else's eyes, all from the comfort of your own home.
It's amazing. We're entering an era where imagination is the only limit. But as we embrace these advancements, it's crucial to remember that we have the power to shape the future.
We have a responsibility to ensure that AI and VR are used to create a better world, a world that's more equitable, more sustainable, and more fulfilling for everyone.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Llama 3.3, let's not just marvel at the technology, but also consider its impact on society and our role in shaping its future.
The future is not something that just happens to us. It's something we create together.
Into the world of AI and VR. We hope you found it informative and thought-provoking.
And we hope it's inspired you to think critically about these technologies and their impact on the world.
Until next time, stay curious and stay engaged. The future is waiting to be written. Thanks for joining us on this journey.